good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I am going to cut up the veggies and all of that good stuff that I bought from the farmer's market yesterday. Wait till y'all see these veggies. They are absolutely gorgeous. Ah! Just like some of y'all are out there. Absolutely gorgeous. I have such a fat carrot to try to cut up. I was going to juice it, but I just thought, you know what? Let me just see if I can do some kind of vegetable soup or something. So tonight, what I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to be, I'm not a cook first. I'm not like some great cook or anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to juice these vegetables or try to find a way to cook these vegetables. Look at this fat carrot. It's almost laughable. I got this from the farmer's market yesterday, and it is ginormous. That's huge. I'm going to be cutting that up tonight. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up a lot of my veggies, put them in freezer bags and put them in the freezer, and then when I'm ready to use them, I'll just grab them. I have a nice thing of collard greens here. Now I'm probably going to juice some of these and then cook some of these. I'm going to make cannellini beans with collard greens inside of them, and I'm going to have like onions and garlic and chicken broth and stuff like that. That's pretty good. I am going to, let's see, cut up some of the stuff. This beautiful purple onion is going to be going inside of my cannellini beans. Probably some bell pepper also. But first thing I'm going to do is tackle this carrot. It's so huge. It's so huge. So it looks like it's been cleaned already. Well, it's not that dirty. Let's just put it like that. So let me just, scrape it off a little bit. I'm going to save these shavings that I take off because my little dog, Charlie Brown, loves carrots. So I would probably put those in a separate baggie for him. And just, put them in the freezer and then throw them in with his dog food. He absolutely loves carrots. Speaking of carrots, I do juice a lot. And one time I made some carrot juice, just straight carrot juice, which I rarely do because of all the sugar. That carrot juice had me flying around the room. It gives you so much energy. So I rarely juice carrots now, but since I do have this huge carrot, I'm probably going to put some of it in some kind of a soup, and then the rest of it I'll juice. But I hope it's sweet too. I mean, it's just because it's huge and beautiful doesn't mean it's going to be sweet and good. You know what I'm saying? So there's one way to tell, right? Let me see. That is so good. I'm telling you this, I am in love with this farmer's market. Just so much nice produce and stuff out there. I'm going to try to go out there on a regular basis and, get my fruits and my veggies. They look really, really nice. As long as the presentation is good and the price isn't that high, I'll go ahead and purchase them. But I can't purchase too much because, I'm one person and there's only so much I can eat. I wish I knew how to cook collard greens. Just like a big pot collard greens. I don't. My father was a chef, but that skill wasn't passed down to me. And my mother was a scratch cook. She could pretty much make anything. And I did learn how to do some stuff from her, but not a ton of stuff. So I've cut half of the carrot and put it in my little colander here. I have this other half. I'm going to leave it like this so I can juice it, okay? And speaking of juice, I'm currently sipping on, hold on y'all, some outstanding apple cider. It's pure apples in that cup right there that I also got from the farmer's market yesterday. Let me wash my zucchini here. I forgot to get my veggie brush out that I use to scrub my veggies with. Gonna wash my zucchini, my squash. and my other zucchini over there, and some red pepper here, and get all this stuff chopped up and prepped for use later on this week. You know what? One of the things that I just started doing is whenever I'm working on, let's say an onion or a bell pepper, let's say I'm having a salad 2 or 3 days out of the week, but I have all this onion and bell pepper left over because I didn't use it all. What I do is I wash it off, take whatever I have left over after I've made all the salad I want for the week. I rinse it off real good, cut it up, dry it. I'm losing what I'm saying here. Wash it off, dry it off, cut it up, put it in freezer bags, put it in the freezer, and then later on during the week when I want to make, during the next week or 2 weeks later, if I want to make a recipe that requires, bell peppers or onions or something like that, I can just go right into the freezer and grab my pre-cut veggies. You don't ever have to waste anything. If you can't eat it all, like I have a 3-day rule, if I can't eat it all in 3 days, then I freeze it or I throw it away. So you don't have to throw away, unused onions or unused, bell peppers or garlic. Sometimes I make little garlic cubes and put those in my little ice trays and freeze little garlic cubes or whatever. And then when I'm ready to drop that inside of the recipe, I just take it out of the freezer, drop it right on in there, y'all. I'm telling you, don't waste food if you don't have to. I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable, but if you don't have to waste food, don't waste food. Repurpose it, use it. Find a way to use it. Just like I'm going to find a way to use all of these collard greens. I'm so intimidated by collard greens, and I'm so ashamed because probably everybody in my family knows how to cook collard greens, and I don't. I'm so ashamed. I'm a cookbook cook, so if I can find a nice recipe to help me, make it happen, make a delicious dish, I'll just, pretend that I came up with it, and I just have it like that because I'm a great cook. But most of the time, stuff like collard greens, soups, I am not good at making soups and stews. For some reason, I'm just not. If I'm going to bake a chicken and let's say I want baked chicken and rice for dinner, what I'm going to do is buy me a bag of Success rice, the boil-in bag rice, which takes 10 minutes to cook. I'm going to have that. I'll go to the grocery store, get me a rotisserie chicken, and that's my baked chicken and rice. I'll get me a bag of frozen veggies from this freezer section at the grocery store, and then, I'll have baked chicken and rice and veggies for a few days, and then usually I have like almost a whole chicken left. I'll just cut that up, or sometimes it's already cut up. I'll put that in a freezer bag and I'll grab it, a piece of chicken here, some veggies there or whatever. For lunch maybe the next day or 2 weeks later or something like that. I freeze everything. Last year the grocery stores ran out of so much food because, people were confined to their homes and everybody wanted to make sure that they had what they needed and everything. We weren't allowed, at least where I was living at the time, we weren't allowed to even go anywhere. You had to have like a letter from your employer stating that you were essential personnel just so that you could drive to work without getting, in trouble. You had that letter that you had to keep in your car to show to a police officer in case they pulled you over. So it was crazy. So last year, in the town where I was living, the grocery store actually ran out of all meat. There was zero meat. The meat department at this store, the size of the meat department was like the size of, it seemed like it was the size of a city block, I swear, just all meat. And of course it wasn't that big, but it was huge. Every single solitary drop of meat went flying off the shelves. And so this year, what I'm doing is I'm not waiting for, people to start panicking and going to the grocery store and taking everything. I'm stocking up now. There's only so much I need because it's just me. But I'm stocking up now on things like, onions and the things that you wouldn't even think we'd run out of. I'm stocking up on these things and I'm putting them in the freezer. And so I recommend you guys do the same. Don't go crazy. Don't get way more than you will ever eat. But get enough. Get what would be sufficient for you, okay? To last a few, a month or two if necessary. Don't go shopping and spending all of your money on stuff that you don't need. You want to put food in store, store up on your food. Also keep money in the bank. Don't go doing unnecessary spending. I just think we need to look back at what we've learned over this past year and try to be wiser this year. We ran out of food at the grocery stores. We ran out of toilet paper and stuff. So slowly stock up on that stuff now so that if another crisis does happen, you don't have to worry about getting to the grocery store, 6 a.m. in the morning or whatever. Where I lived at, you had to take a number. They only let a few people in the store at a time. They only opened the store for a few hours a day. Several stores were like that. And you could only buy a little bit of this or a little bit of that. It was awful. So I definitely learned some things during the pandemic. And so now when I went to the farmer's market the other day and I saw all of these beautiful veggies, I know that I like to juice. And I know that I like certain veggies. And I'm going to get them right now before I need them, right? I went ahead and I bought them. And I'm just going to freeze this stuff. And it might not seem like I have a lot of stuff here, but for a single person, I really did. To me, this is a lot. I'm also going to be stocking up on like dog food and stuff like that because I do have a couple of mutts. I love my mutts. Charlie Brown and Raven. I call her Ravy Baby, and Charlie Brown is Mr. Brown. He's like, I was telling my brother, every now and then you'll see a man that's kind of like a manly man, like he's like a burly, like manly man. Charlie is the dog form of the manly man. He is a straight up dude. In fact, I call him little dude. I love Mr. Brown. That's what I call him. So I've got my vegetables and everything nicely washed and chopped up. The next thing I do is I dry them off because when you put them in the freezer, they just freeze a lot better. They don't stick together as much if you put them in the freezer while they're dry, as opposed to them being all wet and saturated with water, because then they'll just stick together into one clump. But yeah, I just dry my veggies off. And sometimes I take a nice Tupperware bowl, and I'm probably going to put some zucchini and squash into a Tupperware bowl and put that in the freezer. And then I'm going to be set. I'm going to be good to go. So I have some purple onion here on my cutting board and some garlic. And in this bowl here, or this colander, I have some zucchini, squash, sweet red pepper, and carrots. I'm going to pat this dry with a paper towel, get a couple of baggies, put that in the freezer, and I'm going to use some of it probably tomorrow, so I won't put all of it in the freezer. I'll put some of it in the freezer. And then when I go off camera, I'm going to wash off these big, beautiful collard greens. I don't know if y'all know this, y'all probably don't, but when you juice collard greens or really any kind of greens, it could be mustard greens, whatever kind of greens, they are so spicy. They will actually burn your throat, especially if you're drinking just strictly collard greens, which I don't recommend. I like to juice my greens with a multitude of other vegetables and then sweeten them all with an apple. That's the only sweet thing I like to use whenever I do my juicing. So I'm going to wash some of these, set them aside for my juice, and then I'll wash the rest, and figure out how to trim the stem off or whatever, and this little vein or whatever, get rid of that, and do them like this. And then after I'm done cleaning those, I'll get my cannellini beans. I have a couple cans of cannellini beans that I'm going to put in a pot, and I'm going to saute them with some garlic, some onions. I'm going to use some of this Better Than Bouillon, chicken Better Than Bouillon, roasted chicken base to season it with, along with some, I like spicy food, so I have some Latin American spicy seasoning, and it's got garlic, salt, chili pepper, oregano, red pepper, and spices. So I'm gonna saute my cannellini beans in this, along with this, probably some garlic powder and onion powder, some onions and fresh garlic. And then after I've sauteed that for a while, add a little water and some collard greens, and put a lid on it and cook it for, since I'm not like a cook, I don't know how long I'm gonna have to cook it. I'll just start out cooking it for like 30 minutes with a lid on it. And if I think it's done, then hey, I'll turn the stove off. But if it needs a longer amount of time, then I'll just put the lid back on it. And then when it's all said and done, I'll take my my beans and collard greens off the stove. I'll probably have about 6 servings or something like that. So I'll eat it for a couple of days. Then I'll get some Tupperware bowls out and freeze the rest. And then whenever I want to have that, like for lunch or dinner or whatever, I'll just grab it. So what's the purpose of this video? Well, there was no purpose. I just really wanted to share my my beautiful produce with you guys, and so I just started chatting. And but I really, it seems like I really started talking about saving, not saving, but storing up the things that we might need, that you will need for when the winter time comes. That way you'll have what you need. You don't know if we're gonna have another breakout of whatever, another bad breakout of this ugly virus or not. Just be prepared. Have a little money in the bank. Have your freezer stocked. If you have food in your freezer, in your fridge right now, that's been in there a couple of days and you know you're not going to eat it, but you really like those food items, take them out, put them in, take your food items out, put them in Tupperware bowls or baggies, and freeze that stuff. Don't throw it away. Freeze it, save some money. Whatever you can freeze and eat later is money in your pocket right now. So I encourage everybody to do that. So this is me signing off. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna start doing a little bit more vlogging. Oh, hold on, y'all. I gotta be modest here. I think I'm gonna start doing a little bit more vlogging. My channel has really always been about comedy and doing these little skits, which I love to do, and I'm gonna continue to do those. But I'm also I'm starting to feel this whole vlogging thing because, it gives me something to do, just somebody to talk to. And this video is about 20 minutes long, so hopefully you guys watched it to the end. I'm not going to say like, share, and subscribe, because if you want to do that, you will. And if you don't want to, you just simply won't. But in any event, I'm going to keep on doing these videos whenever I feel like doing them. I'm going to try to learn how to cook something very well. Oh, I know how to cook chili very well. I have won 3 chili cook-offs. So maybe just different kinds of chili too. So maybe one of these days I will make well, if I do make my chili, I'm not going to show y'all all of my ingredients. You say, what's the point? Well, you'll get to see me use my secret ingredients. You know, I won't show the label, but you'll just get to hear me chat like this, and you'll watch me make some of my award-winning chili. Okay. I want you guys to have an outstanding week. Might as well, right? Have a great week. Put some money aside for tough times. Save your leftovers, put them in the freezer, or make dog food out of it, okay? If you have a pet, if you have some leftover chicken, dogs aren't supposed to eat salt, but you can take that chicken and boil the crap out of it to get all the salt and stuff off, and then debone that chicken or whatever, put it in a baggie. Your dogs will eat those scraps. That could be the wet food that you put on top of their dry food. So I always do that. So anyways, y'all have an outstanding evening. I know I plan to. I'm gonna make my cannellini beans and my collard greens and drink some more of my apple cider. Hold on, y'all. As I would say in some of my funny videos, it's some kind of good. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.